Homemaking isn't just about keeping a house in order. It's about creating a home, a space where love, memories, and that deep feeling of belonging come together. Have you ever felt like your home is missing that deeper connection? Let's talk about some practical ways you can bring a deep sense of history and belonging into your space. For me, one of the most important aspects of keeping a home involves keeping our heritage. Some of our old ways of living, knowledge, and even our family heirlooms that are still used in one way or another every day. Some more practically, and others as a reminder of where and who we came from to keep us grounded, rooted, if you will. Grab a cup of something cozy and let's chat about how to create deep meaning and connection in your home, in your day-to-day life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Megan, and this is our home and heritage, where we share it all from the garden and pasture to the farmhouse and kitchen. Whether you're surrounded by family heirlooms or just beginning to gather pieces that matter, or even more on the minimalist side, let's talk about how to bring intention and purpose into your home and everyday life so you feel like your space is a place of real belonging. I'm a deeply sentimental person. I treasure the little things, old letters, photos, and items passed down through generations. These objects to me are more than just things. They're connections to those who came before me, and they carry stories that I want to remember and pass on. Most of these heirlooms are nothing fancy. They don't look like much and wouldn't really mean much to anyone but me, because I am the keeper of their stories. It's my job to make sure they continue to mean something to those who come after me. But I understand that not everyone feels the same way. For some, the idea of holding on to physical reminders of the past may not resonate as strongly. Even if you're not naturally sentimental, there's still value in understanding and appreciating the history behind these items. It's not about the object itself, but about the legacy, the lessons, and the continuity they represent. For me, it's about keeping those connections alive, but for others, it might be about discovering them for the first time. In our fast-paced, ever-changing world, it's easy to feel disconnected, like a wanderer without a true sense of belonging. I believe that much of this feeling comes from a lack of connection to our roots, to the history and stories that have shaped who we are. When we lose touch with where we come from, we lose touch with a part of ourselves. It has been said that knowing your family history, understanding where you come from, can have a profound impact on your sense of identity and belonging. It roots you to the present, providing a solid foundation where you can grow, thrive, and face the challenges of the future. It's like planting a tree. The deeper the roots, the stronger and more resilient it becomes. A few of my most treasured heirloom pieces are my cast iron skillets. 2 of them were my great aunt's. She was more like a grandma to me and passed down many recipes and stories from my great grandma, who was, what I'm told, an amazing cook and homemaker. And one of my skillets belongs to her and has probably been used on an old wood cook stove more than a conventional stovetop. We have had some much needed rain recently, and I haven't been out to pick anything in a few days. And oh my goodness, the zucchini have really exploded. This one may be the biggest one I have ever harvested. Out here in the garden, I feel a deep connection to God and my heritage. My husband and I have kept a garden every year since before we were even married. I have often wondered if those who came before us would find our commitment to continuing to grow our own food admirable or silly in the presence of the convenience of grocery stores and such today. I can only guess, based on how my grandpa and my great aunts and uncles would vacation in the summer when the beans were ready to be canned and the sauerkraut was needing to be made, that it was and still is important and admirable. I find peace knowing I am blessed to have the knowledge and space to grow a reliable food source to nourish my family. In a few videos back, I made zucchini bread with all of the zucchini we've been growing. Today, I'm going to make something a bit more, how do I put this, maybe unexpected? Zucchini, almost apple pie. Back in the farmhouse kitchen, I'm starting by peeling and cutting out the seedy inner portion of the zucchini. This recipe will work well with the large, overgrown zucchini I just harvested. After that, I'm going to chop them into fairly uniform pieces and set them aside. One heirloom that everyone can create or continue to pass down is a good old heirloom recipe. If I were to guess, I bet your family's legacy is already being preserved. If you have a favorite recipe that has been passed down from your mom or grandma or another cherished family member, and every time you prepare it, the smell and the taste make you feel that sense of connection to them and the memories you've made gathered around the family table, then you, friend, have a true heirloom. Or maybe you have those recipes you make that are your family's favorite. Then I want to encourage you to teach at least someone in your family how to make it just right so it tastes like yours. Keeping these connections in our past is, in my humble opinion, so important in keeping us rooted to who we are in the present. And what better way to do that than through food, which is typically most everyone's love language. Today I'm using one of my family's heirloom recipes. This pie crust has stood the test of time, for sure. The original recipe calls for lard, and I have made it with lard my sister and I rendered from the pigs raised and processed on our multi-generational family farm. Today, though, I'm using butter. I'll share a link below for the heirloom recipe for the simple from-scratch butter or lard homemade pie crust post on my blog. And I'll leave the directions for the zucchini pie filling down below too. Our great-grandmothers lived in a world where every item in the home had a purpose and a story. Their homes were filled with carefully chosen, often handmade possessions. In their world, possessions were few but cherished. Every item had a place, a reason for being. There were no excesses, no clutter, just the essentials needed to sustain and care for a family. These objects were not just tools. They were companions in the daily rhythm of life, carrying the weight of family history and tradition. Today, our homes were filled with far more than our ancestors could have ever imagined. We have gadgets for every task, appliances that do the heavy lifting, and an abundance of items that promise to make life easier. But in this abundance, it's easy to lose sight of the intentionality that once defined homemaking. When we look at the possessions that filled our ancestors' homes, we see a reflection of their values, a focus on quality over quantity, on functionality paired with beauty, on the stories that each item told. These were things made to last, to be repaired rather than replaced, to be passed down as heirlooms rather than discarded when something new came along. Perhaps one of the greatest lessons we can learn from our ancestors is the value of contentment and simplicity. They made do with what they had, and in doing so found a richness that we often overlook in our pursuit for more. Their possessions were few, but each one was treasured. Each one played a vital role in the life of the home. Though the challenges of homemaking may have shifted with time, the heart of the home beats with the same rhythm it always has, grounded in love, tradition, and the legacy of those who came before us. As we reflect on the physical possessions that fill our homes, let us strive to honor the past by cherishing the present, by choosing intentionality, and by creating a home that truly reflects our heritage. With the almost apple pie finished, I'll pop it in the oven and let's continue chatting. But first, I want to share a few more of my family heirlooms. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. My grandma's pastry blender, a collection of creamy ironstone that is the exact design that was my great-grandma's from the homestead kitchen. My other grandma's mix-match silverware with one serving spoon still has this tiny piece of tape from labeling it for all those church potlucks she cooked for. Again, these objects in my collection don't look like much and wouldn't mean much to anyone but me because I am the keeper of their stories, and it's my job to make sure they continue to mean something to those who come after me. The almost apple pie is finished baking, and the entire farmhouse smells exactly like a fresh baked apple pie. I can't wait to see who I fool with this pie when I take it up on the homestead later for dinner. For those who may not have inherited family heirlooms, there's still a beautiful opportunity to start creating your own legacy. You don't need a chest full of antiques to begin. Sometimes it starts with just one cherished item, something you choose intentionally because of its quality, craftsmanship, and the memories it will create. Think about the tools and kitchenware I've shown today. They didn't become heirlooms overnight. They were used, cared for, and loved over years, sometimes decades. The same can be true for you. Perhaps it's a well-made cast iron skillet that will cook countless family meals, a handmade quilt, or a piece of furniture you invest in now, knowing it will stand the test of time. It's not about having things. It's about having things that matter. Heirlooms carry with them the stories of their makers and owners, the memories of shared meals, and the warmth of home. By choosing to invest in quality over quantity, you're setting the stage for future generations to have something of substance, a tangible link to the past that's embedded with the values you hold dear. In a world that often prioritizes convenience, there's something profoundly enriching about choosing items that are meant to last. Building a collection of heirlooms isn't just about passing down objects, it's about passing down values. It's about instilling in our children and grandchildren, one day, the understanding that the best things in life are worth waiting for, worth caring for, and worth keeping. It's about showing them that while it's easy to accumulate, it's far more rewarding to curate a life and a home filled with things that truly matter. So start small, choose something you love, something well made, and let it become a part of your family's story. Teach your children why it's special, and one day they'll appreciate the care you took to give them not just an object, but a piece of history, a lesson in value, and a tangible reminder of the love you poured into your home. Remember, every heirloom had to start somewhere. What you begin today could be the treasures your children pass on to theirs, a living testament of the life you've lived, the values you've held, and the love you've shared. I must say, this apple pie really fooled my dad and especially my brother-in-law. He was raving about how it was the perfectly baked apples and apple pie he had ever had. So he couldn't deny it was delicious when I told him it was really made out of zucchini. 10 out of 10 recommend this pie. Whether you're someone who is sentimental or someone who prefers to live simply, there's power in knowing where you come from. It's a way to root yourself in the present, giving you strength to grow and flourish as you move forward. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one, but in the meantime, check out these videos. I think you'll love them. Until next time, friend.